Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome to the greatest, the biggest, the top, tip-top, best show ever on radio and anywhere in the world. You can put it in 60 different languages, and it's the greatest, the best show in the world. Greg Anthony here on the Investigative Journal. Wow. You know, every time I do this, I feel like I'm in a circus ring, and I've got the big hat on, and I'm in Barnum and Bailey's circus. Are they still around? I think they shut them down. And that's what I feel like, so that's why I do it. And my psychiatrist mentioned to build up my self-esteem during this difficult time in our country's history. Greg Anthony here, and people say, well, why is your show the greatest? What data do you have? Well, I have the same data that the White House Task Force has when they say that the COVID virus is going to kill us all and the world needs to be locked down. This show is definitely better than talking to film star Gregory Peck, yes, on a film set on a lonely night in Rome and asking him, hey, did you really kill that mockingbird? He got up so quick. Well, this show is better than getting blown up by 2 kilos of dynamite before Ronald Reagan came to Rome for the first time. And that was me. Yeah, it's better. I'm telling you, it's better than that. That was quite a day. This is better than creating the wheel. Remember this? The wheel. Everybody talks about the wheel. But who created it? The guy that did it never got any credit. Yes. And I want to get back to the credit thing, because we are going to spend a day talking about the people that really deserve to be highlighted in this COVID-19 pandemic. They don't get enough credit, folks. They really don't. And I'm really feeling sorry for all of them today. You know, there's some things there. Have you heard what's going on the internet regarding these people? It's outlandish. The people that are saying this ought to be whipped and shot, or at least hung. Now, a good way to kill somebody, and you can then put it's the COVID virus, is to hang them upside down from a tree. Yeah, I've heard about that. But anyway, this show is better than being African pastor Augustine Yiga. Now, he's a Christian pastor who has recently in Uganda been jailed for telling his congregation the same things we say and you say when you're listening to this show. Like, this doesn't seem right. This is a hoax. We can sit in the church pews and be safe. Don't worry about it. And they arrested him. He faces 7 years in jail in Uganda. And you don't think, and people are going, well, you see, America's so great. That would never happen to us. Oh, yeah. You see what's going to happen after the dust settles with this thing a little bit. Oh, they're already, yes, folks, already thinking of a second wave of COVID virus. But could it be a tsunami? You know, this is getting to the point where life isn't really worth getting up for. You know, every day I get up and I go, oh no. But then I said, you know, I have a purpose. And my purpose is to basically, have you heard, to help these people, these elites? They're really getting battered around. Poor Trump, poor King Trump, everybody loved him before that, outside of course, half the country and the globalists who want to bring in this new world order to begin with. I mean, these people, whoever believes these people know what they're talking about is out of their mind. I mean, they don't even know who created socialism. I'm going to help you today, all of you people, because I am so upset of what I've heard on the internet about our leaders. I mean, it is really outlandish, and they ought to sue all of us for libel. And they'll win, because they own the courts. And the judges will go, well, yeah, you can't say this about Anthony Fauci. You've been hearing, you know, I've been nice to him. And I want to defend him because I've never said these things. But this is what's going on in your world. You have people out there that are really serious, that want to overthrow this government, that want to get rid of these. Some are calling them the black nobility. Some are calling them, like me, the Vatican-led New World Order. Jesuit, too, yeah. But you hear what they're saying? Now listen, in the beginning, on the first day of this thing, I smelled something rotten in Denmark, and I saw that little Anthony Fauci talking, and that was when I could actually listen to the TV, okay? And I said some funny things like, he should have been a jockey. You know, he's so short I can only see his forehead. And boy, he doesn't really make much sense. And then I just said, he has an interesting background. He went to Regis High School. He went to Holy Cross, one of the oldest Jesuit universities. And then I said, he's got to be a Jesuit shill. And I left it at that because I said, what a mastermind these people are. If they can lock down 180 countries, you got to give them some respect. And that's what they deserve. But the people out there are getting anxious, angry. Well, they've been at home for 60 days and they don't see anything on the horizon that's they're going to let you go out, but then you got so many rules that it ain't going to be worth going out. But anyway, did you hear what these people are calling Anthony Stephen Fauci? I'm coming to your rescue, sir. They've called you a COVID-19 co-conspirator. I've never done that. They've called you a black nobility Kabbalist. Big Pharma's inside man. They've called you a Manchurian candidate. They've called you a medical mafia hitman, a globalist fearmonger, a Democratic operative, an agent of the deep state, CIA drug dealer. What the heck is going on in this world? NIH corruptocrat, a British intel asset, a cultural Marxist, a physician fraud, an NIAID grifter. I don't even know what's NIAID. AIDS? I don't know. Jesuit pawn. I said that. But boy, did you hear all these things they're saying about you, Mr. Fauci? I don't know what's going on in this world. And then it gets worse. Even the loyalists of Donald Trump are saying, I think he works with the Jesuits because he would not let this guy, this Manchurian candidate, be on his medical staff, the head doctor. And you know what? To add injury to insult to all of you people that never believed me 25 years ago when I said, the Republicans and Democrats work together. And, no, we can save the country if we follow the MAGA people. No, you can't. This is a front. They're doing a great reality show, and I told you how they operate, and nobody listened. They all wanted to, you can't go on anybody's side. They're not on your side. They're in a small club at the top, and they control you. That's how it works. They're your owners. We have been slaves since the 14th Amendment was passed. And you know how I can say that? Because I went to law school, and I know everything, just like they tell you they know everything. And that's exactly what's going on here. People are listening to the biggest stupid talking heads in the world tell you to stay home. Did you hear all this garbage they're going to be doing? Tracking, tracing, coming to your house, taking your blood, checking how long your toenails are? I mean, give me a break. They're going to even ask you, did you use deodorant today? This is getting to the point where you just ought to put a sign on your door. Put a sign on your door and say, if you enter this house, you will catch the worst. We have not the COVID. We have the COVID virus hoof and mouth disease, like that guy Greg Anthony does on the radio. Yeah. And if you walk in here, you're going to be just like us. You're going to understand that what you're doing is BS. But you see, folks, I like to get down to the bottom of things. America is built on BS. Yes. That's their nickname. I mean, America has spread. The politicians, I don't really get to them very often because they're just puppets, but they have been selling you a bill of goods ever since America was founded. This whole idea had a different ending, and they just wanted to play it along until they could get their spoils of war and then take the peasants and kill them at any time they want. That's exactly how they operate. And so here we are, watching America go to hell in a handbasket, And I've loved that. Are we all going together? I mean, in one basket? Is it like a big basket, or is it a small individual baskets that we all go down? Is it like Easter baskets? I mean, are we going to have eggs in there? What's going on? Can I take anybody with me? Can I take some of my belongings? Is there a possibility I could take my computer down? So I got a lot of stuff on there. Is there a possibility of anything that I can do that they won't say no? They'll just say, go lock him up and throw away the key. How many times have you heard that? Anybody that talks against them, like that Pastor Yiga in Uganda, is going to have the key thrown away. But how far can they throw it? That's the real key. Because, get that? If they can throw it farther than there might be somebody down the way that'll give you back the key, But anyway, this has gotten to a point where I have to come to the rescue of these people. I feel sorry for them, and I'm going to start at the top. The Pope has been called everything under the sun. That's what they worship. Everything under the sun. You ever heard that expression? Oh, this is everything under the sun. What do you think they came up with that? Because they worship the sun. Yes, just like the old people did back in the old days, And the Pope, he's the biggest sun worshiper, but he's been getting I've called him some names over the years. I call them what they really are. They are lying out of both sides of their mouth. They speak with a forked tongue, as our Native Americans would say, and attest to by all of the treaties they broke. And they've been up to world conquest ever since Rome was up, down, fell, came back, and now is, of course, the richest and the biggest organization in the world, even though they have a country that's as big as a football field. Yeah, and how did they do it? Because this has been a plan that all of these stupid politicians, Ben Franklin and all those people too, got into. And you're going to say, well, listen, they had a higher cause. They had to do this. The ends justifies the means. No, if you don't say what you mean, then basically you can't be forgiven by some Jesuit priest who's, molested 30,000 children, and he's going to forgive your sins. That's how these people think. So anyway, let's come to the rescue of the Pope. They've called him everything under the sun over the years. The Protestants did. They knew that he was the Antichrist, and he lopped off a lot of people's heads. But in a sense, they've survived, haven't they? They've moved ahead. Even when they were known to be criminals, they still got away with it. And that you have to, better than people like, Jesse James and all that. So you got to give them credit that they always withstood this push to defame them, get rid of them. And now even Pope Francis, he's being called, and have you seen some of the things? People are saying he's basically the devil. He is basically creating a schism in the Catholic Church. He's the worst pope since sliced bread. How many times are you going to, we have to get that statement out of here. Just get out of here. Because if the world has been around all this long, and the best we can do is say that it's better than sliced bread, then we have a problem. Yeah, don't slice your bread. Just slice it by yourself. You don't need sliced bread, do you? Wait, think about that in the morning. How hard is it to slice bread and put it in the toaster? Is that really difficult? They supposedly went to the moon, which they didn't, but people believe they did, so did they? Yeah, well, in their minds they did. But that's America. You see, I'm helping the Pope here. I'm saying, listen, Pope, they've been saying some bad things about you, even today. There's so many. I looked it up, and boy, there are people out there that are just ripping this guy a new, I can't say it. I've always wondered about that expression. Ripping a new butt. Let's just use butt. How do you do that? I don't know if you say that in your town. Like in Chicago, we used to say that. How do you do that? How do you rip somebody a new butt? You're stuck with that your whole life. You got to sit on it your whole life. Many people think from it. And that's why America's in the position it is today. Because, you got only yourselves to blame. Because if we haven't been able to mount any kind of movement to really understand the truth, to get these people out of our life, out of our hair, that's another one. There's so much we say. And then I start thinking, how are they in my hair? I'm starting to feel my hair. I got like 100 million Jesuit shills in my hair. I got to get them out. And I don't even have long hair anymore. But what I'm getting at is if we deserve what we get. We know what they're doing, and we can't stop them. We know this COVID virus thing is a fraud. I mean, everybody, and more people, the more days you think about it, and the more BS you hear, the more you realize this thing has been concocted, but we can't do anything about it. We're going to listen to them. You're not going to go shopping tomorrow unless you think of an alternative method without putting on their mask at the gate. It's like entering the castle. Don't come in without a mask, and it's ridiculous. Then it's not going to help. And then they got their social distancing. You can't go here. You can't go there. Then they're going to say, we can't open up the economy until we start understanding and we know who has it, who doesn't. Everybody. No, but they don't even know what it is. So it's all a bunch of control. And we have to understand that this is what we got. So, give these people a little credit for what they did. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. Don't you understand, Pope? That I'm trying to help you. In fact, I have one of the shows that even I've been told the Black Pope, although they would like to kill me sometimes, maybe like they tried years ago, but I don't think they did. They didn't even know me then, but I'm just kind of puffing myself up. But, they even said, well, he's not really a big problem. If he had like 1 million followers, then we'd kill him. But, we can't let the cat out of the bag. Cat? Those poor cats. They've always been in the bag. I mean, let's let the cats out of the bag. If you believe in animal rights, you will not say that ever again. Okay, let's let the cat out of the bag. I just let the cat out of the bag, and I'll never put a cat in the bag. But we say it 100 million times, and that poor cat's been in there. And Molly, the pigeon, my messenger service, she's like, let the cat out. Let the cat out. I want to have some fun. He can never catch me. I just fly away. And that reminds me, talking about serious things. So anyway, let's end with the Pope saying, what? You've done a great job for your people. You've done a great job for the nobility, black nobility, the Vatican Jesuit-led New World Order, all your rich bankers, all those people at Big Pharma who are trying to kill people. You've done a great job for them. They're around. They're good. And you may control the world again. My goodness. And then anybody who talks against you will be shot. What are you going to do? Shoot? You're going to use a guillotine? I mean, choose your weapon. I, right here, right as I speak, I've been COVID virus thinking. That's what it's called. Outside of having the COVID virus hoof and mouth disease, which means that I cannot say one word good about it anymore. And I hope you catch it. It's very comforting, really, because you start saying, hey, I can say anything I want, at least until they cut my head off. And then all of a sudden, you're going to wake up one day, and if the spell isn't broken, you're going to say, yes, it's better. Oh, at least we can do this. And, within 6 months, you'll forget all about it and say, oh, that was a bad dream. And that's what Americans will do. They'll forget in 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, so we sat home for 60 days and couldn't go anywhere. But who cares? We have freedom here. This is America. They've been spreading this BS story for God knows how long. And that's the one thing America's good at. I'm going to give you the 3 things they're good at. They're good at a propaganda campaign and advertising. They've advertised this country all over the world, and it's really a great advertising campaign. In fact, COVID-19 is their biggest BS story I've ever heard. The only thing it doesn't rival is the Vatican Jesuits' religion story that they've created out of Catholicism. Now that is a story that should go down in history as the biggest, the top, the biggest, the tip-top BS story ever told to humanity, and they believed it. There's no better. They've created more religions, more wars. They've created visions that, Mother Mary, they created her into some Queen of Sheba, who comes down in trees and talks to people. Then they kill the little girls and boys that see them, so that everybody can go to Medjugorje and to Fatima and give them millions of dollars. Yeah, it's the greatest story in the world. Then America, that comes next. This is their land of the free. Yeah. Do you feel real free now? How free do you feel? I mean, I'm going to give you an example, right? Molly the pigeon still, I'm not taking the cat out of the bag, Molly. Okay, Molly the pigeon is our messenger service. I'm in the replica Roman Colosseum, which I'll tell you all about in the second half hour. And this is headquarters. This is, command central of the Second American Revolution. And I'm like Sean Hannity for Trump. I'm like the Sean Hannity who is like his right-hand propaganda man. And I am that way for Slats Grobnik, the general of this revolution. And we are going to enter into negotiations prior. I've got a note from him. Molly went out yesterday, had to work twice, overtime. She wants to have overtime pay because we sent her out on a messenger mission after 5 o'clock. And I said, Molly, you're lucky you're working. A lot of your pigeons aren't working, just like the American people. What's the employment rate now, like 80%? Well, they'll go back to work when the state says, hey, we got jobs for you. All you got to do is go out and snitch on your fellow man. Yeah, you can go around, take their blood, and make sure that every 9 out of 10 people have the COVID virus, no matter what that stupid test says. It's just a fake test. It's just something to really, really get them, right? We got tired of just the masks, no toilet paper, telling them they have to go here, there, and everywhere in a circle, all these little games. Now we're playing for blood, okay? So they're really hiring all over in California, 3,000 people a week. They got an online course if you want to join the COVID virus detectives. Yeah, and that's what your job's going to be. And they say they have to do this before they can let you go to work. Why don't you just tell them to go to wherever they go, stick it. Tell them to go stick it. And then say, I know where you're going to stick it. Stick whatever you're going to do somewhere. Then read them the Riot Act, which I've written, and you can get it on my website. That's 3,675 pages, called The Riot Act Finally Explained. It's kind of like the COVID virus explained. You ever going on the internet now and try to figure this thing out? I like things simple. Is it going to kill you? No. What's the death rate? Very low. It's lower than the flu. Okay. What do I have to do? Nothing. Just do what you did prior to that. That's the simple thing. That's what's really going on. And then they've concocted the numbers. They've concocted this thing all over the world. And, it's pretty easy. When they have 7,500 people a day normally dying in America, that's an average. To, pluck out a number of these and go, oh, that's COVID virus. Oh, that's it. I mean, it's as if nobody died before this, and all of a sudden everybody now dies of this COVID virus. And I figured out the reason. It makes it easy for doctors. They don't have to even go to medical school anymore because they don't need to detect what's wrong with you. They know already what's wrong with you. Whatever you have it. Whatever you think you have, you have. And everybody thinks they have the COVID virus, so they've succeeded. No doctors. And if you try to go to the doctor with a serious problem, I know somebody wanted to get their back worked on. They had a back injury that needed to be attended to. They've been waiting 2 months because they can't. They can't do anything but the COVID virus. That's the way we live. And you're free? Think again, folks. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds. Welcome back to the best, the greatest show on earth, the Greg Anthony Investigative Journal. We go deep. We go right into Georgetown University. Yes, that tunnel between the White House and Georgetown has been exposed here on Inside Georgetown. I'm Greg Anthony, your host, and Inside Georgetown gives you everything you want to know about all these great elites, good stories. They show you exactly who they are on the Inside Georgetown. We tell you everything about how they wrote the Patriot Act prior to 9/11, about how they fomented World War I, II, and the upcoming Third World War. We show you how they killed Abraham Lincoln without anybody knowing. And we showed you how the Black Pope is not African American. Yes, we do it all here on Inside Georgetown. I'm Greg Anthony, your host. And today we have an inside story about Dr. Dracula Fauci. Yes, we heard that Dr. Dracula Fauci is on the run. Yes, he's on the run from everybody. All of these internet people are driving him absolutely crazy. He's been called every name in the book, and he is upset. Yes, he's on the run. He's on a slow boat to China. He's on his way to be hiding in the Vatican. Just like, guess who used to hide in the Vatican? And we allow these people even in our country. The guys who killed Lincoln. Yeah, one of the guys who killed Lincoln. You know, they say it was John Wilkes Booth. How many times, America, on Inside Georgetown, we tell you the single gunman theory is BS. You know, you think that just one person pulled the trigger on Lincoln? Just like, oh, yes, Kennedy. Of course only one person pulled the trigger. If you think otherwise, you're crazy. If you think that the world is flat, you're crazy. See, everything is crazy that when, people get everything confused. If I want to think the world is flat, I will think it's flat. I don't have to tell you. Do I? You do. Everybody tells me it's round. Why do I have to believe that? Oh, because that's the right way. Well, who cares what the right way is nowadays? This show is a microcosm. Don't you like that word? Microcosm. I've always wanted to say it. And I'm going to say it 100 times. Not here. Because I only have 20 minutes. But, yeah, it's a microcosm of what's going on with people. You see, I had an idea in the beginning of this COVID-19 thing. I said, well, one person asked me, did you know a lot about the Vatican Jesuit-led New World Order? Did you predict this? I said, no, what really surprised me was the speed at which everybody just laid down and said, Uncle, give up. That's what surprised me, how fast the world just shut down. I think it's because people really didn't like working anyway, so they used this as an excuse. But then again, once, most people in America, a lot of people live hand to mouth. You ever heard that expression? How do you live hand to mouth? Okay? Is your hand always in your mouth? Not now, because they told you, do not put your hand on your face. Remember that? They're teaching you, the people telling you, they're up there on the White House task force, you can't put your hand in your mouth as she's rubbing her eyes and, wiping the snot from her nose. Give me a break. Then they taught you how to wash your hands. Then they taught you all these things. I've come back with a lot of lessons. I've understood that I never knew how to tie my shoes until they taught me. That's the new COVID virus thing. You can't tie your shoes unless you wear plastic gloves or something now, because your shoes may have the COVID virus on it. Well, what am I supposed to do? You won't let me go outside even with my wetsuit. The other day I'm driving. I said, this is crazy. Okay, I'm going to do everything they tell me. First I put on my, neoprene scuba diving suit, 7 millimeters. Then I put on my hood. Then I put on, my boots, which is all protection, right? Then I put on my gloves. This is all you do when you go scuba diving. Then I put on my mask, which covers everything. Then I even put my scuba tank on, which gave me oxygen, right? So then I'm driving, and I get out at the beach over in La Jolla. If you've lived in San Diego, you'll know where that's at. And I used to go diving there all the time, so I didn't see anybody. I thought, this is going to be a pleasant dive. Don't like diving alone, but, I'm just going to go down 30 feet. That'll be okay, So I was walking on the beach, and all of a sudden I got accosted by like 25 different lifeguards, policemen. They go, what are you doing? You can't be here. I go, for why? They go, because you'll get the COVID virus. I said, how? Look, I'm more protected. You'll give it to me. I'm more protected than you. You can't. The beach is closed for your safety. I said, for my safety? I'm just going down there to swim with the fish. They wouldn't let you scuba. So that told me this is BS. That little experiment. And, I've done a number of experiments, too, on many other things that tell me from the beginning to the end they've been lying about so many things that you can't believe a word out of their mouth. But, this show is not going to get on the bandwagon and start berating them, like that article I read calling Mr. Fauci all those names. I mean, he can't take it anymore. I think he's going to China and living where he would be accepted. America still hasn't come to grips with the fact that China is going to, we have sold out to China, your leaders, and this is the way it's going to be. It's going to be like Beijing here. So you get used to it. You're not a free country anymore. If this is a free country, then tell me what, being a captive slave means. You can't work, you can't do this, think about it. Then they can come and take your blood, they can tell you can't go to work. This is modern day slavery, right? And with all the other restrictions that they've put on you, tell me that this is a free country anymore. And then I see pictures of women holding up signs, I want to be free or die. Well, what do you think they want you to do? We got to be smarter than that. And being smart means, one, I'm going to give you some lessons here. Always let your enemy think you're weak. What do you think they let me do this for? They know I'm weak. They know I don't have any listeners. They know I don't have a say in what's going on. They know they can call me a crazy loon, which they've had. And they win. Plus, the one reason I'm here, and I asked somebody, I got contacted once by the godfather, he was actually the godson of Cardinal Paul Marcinkus, who was the head of the Vatican Bank. And they contacted me when I was, on the trail, on the hunt to, show you that this guy, was really a crook. Well, his godson contacted me, and to make a long story short, he said, you know what? You got a good voice. You could be a great entertainer. Why do you go on? Your fellow Americans aren't going to ever stand behind you. And plus, I said, well, why do they let me do this? And he said, well, because, the Black Pope, he likes your show. He laughs sometimes because it's funny, And, I said, well, does he really? And I said, oh, really? Does he want my autograph? I offered that. He said, well, don't go too far, Greg. So what I'm getting at is, I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of angry people. And what life has taught me is that you never accomplish anything in anger. Really. God, I want to kill these people. That's how they act. They act like they don't say that. They're really nice to you, aren't they? They want to protect you. They create an illness, and then they kill a lot of people who think they have it, and they die of other things like suicides are up, mental illness is going to go through the roof. And then, they're going to come up with some bogus solution, like what they're doing. So they're really protecting you, right? They don't tell you their real thoughts. So don't get angry at them. Look at the bright side here. We love them, right? Because they're going to help us. Help us get through the day. Send you a little money. Tell you when you can go to work. They're going to give you a little job spying on your American friends, and you'll love it. In the end, in 6 months, let me tell you, you'll forget all about it. And go right on till they do it again. And you'll say, wow, that was a nightmare, but look at how it is now. Yeah, think about it. This revolution that we've started here on this show is built on one thing. It's built on, basically, they know we're weak. They know we have no chance. But with that, it's the most beautiful strategy in the world. Because when an enemy, they won't even believe what I'm saying now. They think I have the COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease, and just talking off the top of my head, which I am. But what happens when your enemy is no longer there? You fall asleep. And that's when your enemy can win. And in this case, we are sleeping. America is sleeping. They're not even worried. Oh, what are they going to do? Oh, they're going to talk bad about us on the internet and give us all the contrarian views that this COVID thing is not real. And then we're going to have certain politicians like the one in Italy that went off the rails. Man, he read them the riot act. Go to my website. There's a 4-minute clip about this Italian. There's some English subtitles. And boy, did he rip the Italian parliament apart. And he says exactly, he's got the COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease. 1, we don't even know, he says, what it is. 2, you've inflated the numbers of deaths in Italy. You've humiliated us. All you want to do is create a dictatorship. That's what this guy said. Where is the American politician that says that? We are all in the bag of the Vatican. That's a big bag they carry around. They got like billions of people in there believing this. And that's what I'm saying. I'm giving them the credit they deserve. And in fact, they hear me talk about Slats-Grobnik's revolution. They know I'm sitting in the Colosseum that he built. and Molly the Pigeon's waiting for another message for me to send. That's how we have to communicate here on Inside Georgetown. They've bugged everything. The only thing we've done is we've put a mechanical fly on the wall in that Inside Georgetown tunnel between the White House and Georgetown. They can't find it. It's crazy. They're going nuts. How'd they do it? How'd they figure out we're the ones that have the greatest technology? And the reason they know is because I'm reciting things they exactly say. And they know it. But although they say it's a lie, see, that's how this works. Nobody believes anybody. You can say anything and they'll just say, no, it's a lie. So the truth travels all around the world before... No, the lies travel all around the world before the shoes even have a chance to put on their pants. That's the way of the world. America, just think about this. If everybody told the truth about this thing, America would collapse. If everybody told the truth about everything, America would not function 1 minute. It would just go down the tubes. That's a big tube. Whole America's going down this tube. I mean, I've been looking for tubes because ever since I was a kid, they'd say, you're going down the tubes, man. You keep acting like that. You know, you drink too much. Oh, you think too much. Oh, you know, you're going to go right down those tubes, man. You got to straighten your life out, you know. You can't go around like that. You're going to go down the tubes. So I started looking for the tubes I'm going down. Couldn't find one. And then I said, oh, there's got to be more than one tube because they say tubes. But then some people say down the tube. So I started looking now, if America's going down the tubes, there's got to be a lot of tubes. So let's see if we could find a tube. How's that? So, give credit where credit is due. The Pope, he's taken a lot of heat, okay? But he's still the ruler of the world, okay? We got to give him that. Trump's taken a lot of heat from both sides now because people are going, well, if he's for real and wants to drain the swamp, how come there's so many swamp creatures still there? Because he works with them. It's a game. That's what we learn in Inside Georgetown. Every morning they do their daily script. The show goes on. The show has to go on. That's what they come in. They come in today singing, there's no business like show business. There's no business I know. Everything about it is appealing. Everything that traffic will allow. You'll never get such a happy feeling when you take that first bow. There's no people like Vatican people. There's no people I know. Everything about them is deceitful. Everything about them is bad. Everything is like Satan's glory when we take our first stab. Okay, Greg, stop. First stab, yeah. That's what they're going to do. Stab you right in the back. And in Inside Georgetown, we teach you, you know, what they're doing. It's actually a show, a reality show, and they have to write a script. The Jesuits are the writers, just like they wrote all of Shakespeare's plays. What did he say? Yeah. Go back to some of my old shows. We had some scholars, and I'm telling you, they went deep into that story. Shakespeare didn't write that. Yeah. And me, I wrote, you know, all of those books that, you know, I wrote Huckleberry Finn. That's about as close as Shakespeare got to writing all those plays. But the point is, they write this stuff up. It's thought about years in advance. And then they have their daily script to remind all these stupid politicians like Trump and Obama and the rest of them. There's no difference between any of them. They just have a different shtick. You know? That's show business talk. So that's how they operate. So now they're doing this COVID-19 show. It's been going on forever. It's a big hit. Got the top ratings in the world. I mean, this is not only an American show. This is going national, you know, all over the world. So they're in there. Today, for example, they go, where's Fauci? They go, oh, I don't know. He's upset. He's getting too much criticism. So he's on a slow boat to China. So they... Okay, well, where's the stand-in? What does he look like? So they brought the guy in. He looks just like him. So the guy out there now really isn't Fauci. You're going to see him today, but it's not him. Okay? They're using doubles. Yeah. They once asked me to be a double for Brad Pitt. Brad, I remember, this show is better than watching Brad Pitt's face when I came in as a stand-in double, and that wasn't for just back scenes, as facial scenes. And he said, I look like that? Oh, my God. He went running to the mirror and goes, mirror, mirror on the wall. I'm the most beautiful man of them all. This man can't look like me. And I said, okay, fine. They made a mistake. Boy, was he upset. But anyway, we're giving credit where credit is due today. And the credit really goes first to the top. We got King Trump. Today they told him, they said, Don, do you need a break? I mean, you've been really going back and forth. You've been doing a great job. In fact, you're going to win the best actor for president in the role of president. You're better than Martin Sheen was in that movie he made with the Jesuits. Oh, boy, I remember the days when I was serious, I remember the days. I remember when the 9/11, I was a serious dude, man. I thought we could win, But anyway, I was kind of like Michael Jordan, win at all costs, But as I've gotten a little older and understand the wise ways of these people, how smart they've become they're really devious and satanic. And I mean, to fight these people, it's like, all right, another day in the pit of hell with them. But anyway, the idea that people still believe them, and when you start really thinking about it, on Inside Georgetown, we've shown you their scripts. They've been writing this stuff for years. And the one they're doing now is so deep diabolical. We don't know what's next. I got a little hint because they're always a few months in advance. And they talked about today's script, which is kind of a replay. And so they're looking at new ways they can, spice up the show, so to speak. And their crisis actors have been exposed. They talked about that. We got to get better crisis actors so that people believe there is actually people that have this invisible disease. Then we got to get really solid now on telling people we're going to open the world. And then we got to figure out a way to do it so helpful. Like, we got to make sure everybody's tested. We got to make sure if they go anywhere, they go through the turnstiles at the airport. We got to make it miserable. We got to start injecting them. So that's their whole thing now. It's the aftermath. And then in the future, they do have the next season. Yeah, I mean, this is the first season. I don't know how many episodes. Usually a season will be like 12, 10, 13 episodes. This is like 100 episodes. They're working hard. You got to give them credit. They're working darn hard to make this a real good TV show. And you're not happy? I wouldn't be either with $1,200. You should be getting $100 a day, just like the extras in Hollywood. And we'll fight for that, right? That'll be the day. I love that. That'll be the day. I'm always waiting for that day, that'll be the day when you go back. When are you going to go back to work? And is it going to be the same? If it's anything, and I had to get this off my chest, it's a fly on my chest. But it's not the mechanical fly inside Georgetown there. But did you see, one of the things that started Slatz-Grobnik's revolution, and by the way, he'll be back in a couple days. Tomorrow, I'm going to have to tell you exactly what this beautiful Coliseum's like. I think I've been remiss in not really showing you. I mean, nobody can go out. I can't get pictures out because I promised not to use a cell phone and give away all the secrets. But what I'm saying is I got to go through a verbal, going to take you through what this place is really like. When we bring back, after the spell is broken, and we bring these people to perform as gladiators. Yeah, for us. A little change in, turn it around a little bit. But anyway, if I had, and so Slatz started out, because he's a big Cub fan. I met him in Chicago. There's no baseball. And that ticked him off. He said, that's the end. Because he said years ago, he said, once they cancel a major sport, then they're convinced on World War III is coming. He knew that. That was his goal. He thought maybe they do it with football, but baseball's just as good because it's the original American pastime, right? Can you imagine Ty Cobb right now? I can't play because I have a cold. Imagine him wearing a mask. Imagine him. If you look at what they're proposing, and I'm not talking about the schedule and they're going to play in certain places, change the divisions, all that stuff, but the little rules that they're going to impose on these players and all of the people, it's insane. I mean, it's not baseball. And they're changing the world. And you know what? The baseball guys have to follow these stupid rules. You ought to see what they are. They can't eat this. They can't be so many people in the clubhouse. No first base and third base coaches. Too many people. They can only invite 4 people to each game. So what is that? Nobody's going to be there. This is ridiculous. They're changing. And once you see it, then you're going to see how your life, if they can do that, you're going to see how your little life is going to change. And these baseball players are going to fall in line because they're struggling now because they don't make their millions of dollars every year. And so they're going to play ball, to use a term, with the Vatican-led Jesuit order so they can make some money. So they said, well, if we only play 80 games, we want to be prorated. That means that they'll make half their salary. Like guys making $30 million, he makes 15. Do you think he's going to tell the truth? No. So baseball is done. And people will go, well, at least we could see them. Can you imagine these guys going out there with masks and hazmat suits? I'm just going to make my next job is I've got a school of sword fighting, right? 15th century sword fighting, since we can't have guns. But instead of these suits, hazmat suits, I'm going to make a suit of armor, a modern-day suit of armor we can wear to protect ourselves from the COVID virus. It'll sell, You can't buy clothes anyway. Oh, I called a person the other day. I got to go in 2 seconds. He says, they're going to open up the clothing stores. Oh, really? What, have you been walking around naked? Okay, folks, back tomorrow. Have a good evening on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.